She's been deposed for hours on end. So this is after a long day. But we are seeing signs of deception.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew.
You can also tell the way she's looking. She continues to move around in very specific patterns as she's speaking. Watch this right here.
This morning, I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication.
So she was looking at different people in the press. She was looking at different journalists as she says this, but it was too uncomfortable. So you see her look up afterwards. She should not be communicating this way. It's very unusual for her. So the reason that looking up matters is that it's too uncomfortable to actually look at all of the various people in the press, because I believe from the way it appears so far is that she's being deceptive, and there's some discomfort about what if I'm not believed.
What I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew. Her
eyes are moving around an awful lot. She typically is much steadier.
Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever.
And then after she talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, she looks down, a loss of confidence again. She's more concerned about the Maxwell connection than the Epstein connection, actually. That seems pretty clear. So as we're seeing her talk about Maxwell, that is something that hits her differently. She's uncomfortable with both, but she's more uncomfortable with Maxwell.
Connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to.
You see her looking down immediately after she basically says, I told them everything I knew. There's a loss of confidence there. She knows that she's not going to be believed about this.
I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they.
Have you ever Googled your own name or email address? Before I had Aura, I did, and wow, it was my full name, my old address, phone number, all sorts of information I did not want people to have. That's why I started using Aura, today's sponsor. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your number or why your inbox is drowning in spam, this is why. They're companies called data brokers that collect and sell your personal information to marketers, scammers, and yes, even stalkers. They do it without your permission. The good news is they're legally required to remove it if you ask. The only issue is that it's.
See this shit. I'm sorry. Let's get right into the heat. Let's get right back into it.
And the Pam Bondi example, by the way, I got plenty of people commenting, well, she has Botox, so she can't raise her eyebrows, which is absolutely not true. She absolutely can. Even if you've had work done, even if you've had Botox, you can still lift your eyebrows. I've seen her do it. So for anybody who's saying, well, maybe it's work that Hillary Clinton's had done, it wouldn't prevent her from moving her eyebrows at all. And the reason that matters is that when we really feel strongly about something, like I'm probably doing right now, we lift our eyebrows up. We want people to pay attention to our face. As she says all of this, she does not want you to pay that much attention to her face. And that's a problem when you're trying to convince people of the truth. She's struggling her way through the beginning part right here, and she doesn't really want you to be paying attention to what she's saying. But watch the eyebrows. If there are things where she does raise her eyebrows, that will be important because she's not doing it at all right now. No.
Differences that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over.
There you go. See, now there's the eyebrow raise.
Broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally.
See, repetitively, and closed her eyes. We close our eyes when we hear things we don't like. I mentioned that before. And so eyebrows up, eyes closed, they were repetitive, and she doesn't like that. That's something she actually wants you to hear. So when she wants to emphasize, she can do it, but she wasn't doing it earlier when she was saying, I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know Ghislaine Maxwell. This is significant because if she was feeling strongly about that, like she's feeling strong about this, you would have seen it on her face. If she really wanted you to pay attention to what she was saying, she would have been doing this instead, because we can't help but do that. Look at what I'm telling you. This is so important. So to her, how I was treated was what's important. The content, forget what we talked about.
Forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times.
You see, and now you're seeing head movements with that. When we're really trying to emphasize, we tend to move our body. That goes to show what she really wants you to hear. When we're really being emphatic, when we really have something to say, that's when we move like this. So this is the first time we've seen anything that she really wants you to listen to.
repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never.
See, you heard a laugh, and you also didn't see the eyebrows go up when she said, I didn't know Jeffrey Epstein. There was a chuckle behind it. That shows some discomfort with this.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet, that was
So you can see what bothers her about this. So she's pretty aggressive about the whole Pizzagate thing when she says it was propagated on the internet. That dynamic of it, that does seem to bother her. That doesn't make it true, but it does seem to get to her.
that was propagated on the internet, that was serving as the basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only
And you can see this facial expression right here. This is a sign of disapproval.
members' questions to me.
That right there is a look of disapproval. Eyes closed, look of disapproval. The fact she was asked about that, she's insulted by. She did not like having to answer questions about people.
Member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican.
You notice all the ums and ahs. The questions she answered, lots of hesitation, ums, ahs, lots of discomfort when she's talking about the fact that no Republicans came and asked questions to Les Wexner and all this. Very comfortable and confident here. So you're seeing two very different Hillary Clintons when she's talking about different subjects. And that's really what we emphasize when it comes to body languages. What are the differences? When is she calm versus when is she uncomfortable?
To anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner.
You spoke in your opening remarks about how heartbroken you have been for the Epstein survivors as these files have come out. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you have processed and reacted to the fact that the former president, your husband, Bill Clinton, is referenced in the Epstein files numerous times, including in some photos featuring women?
Now,
American Isness. Can y'all hear me?
Bill Clinton.
Can y'all hear me? I'm talking now. Can y'all hear me? It may be some disconnection with StreamYard. They've been really faulty. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if you guys can hear me, family. Let me know.
In your opening remarks about how heartbroken you have been for the Epstein survivors as these files have come out. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you have processed and reacted to the fact that the former president, your husband, Bill Clinton, is referenced in the Epstein files numerous times, including in some photos featuring women?
Now, after Bill Clinton's name is brought up, after actually when she first says your husband, you're seeing the blink rate pick up. Her blinking becomes slower, but she's doing it more frequently. So she's trying to get through these questions. There are some real feelings coming up as this is being asked.
To the fact that the former president, your husband, Bill Clinton, is referenced in the Epstein files numerous times, including in some photos featuring women. And how have you?
So she's nodding this whole time to make sure that people know that she's listening. This is trained body language. This is what politicians do. So after his name's brought up, you're seeing the blink rate pick up, which suggests a certain level of discomfort. And that suggests stress.
You've been personally preparing for the deposition that is coming tomorrow. Are you 100% confident that there isn't anything that the former president knows about Epstein's crimes?
I am, and I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about.
All right, so she raised her eyebrows and starts talking about the chronology. So that if you're going to want to know what Bill Clinton's going to talk about, that's going to be their focus. Clearly, they've already talked about this. So the chronology of things, that's what she wants you to think about.
Connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light. And
There's the ums and ahs again. I don't normally focus on this much because we don't normally hear it this much from public speakers. So it really is notable that whenever really difficult subjects come up, when the hard questions are asked, she is struggling to get through them. But we can assume that the chronology of how things went down, that's a big emphasis for Hillary Clinton. That's exactly what we're going to see Bill Clinton talk about.
and that he was charged and sadly given a sweetheart deal, which, as I said in my statement, had that not happened, perhaps his predatory behavior could have been stopped earlier. But I think it is fair to say that the vast majority of people who had contact with him before his criminal pleas in 2008 were like most people. They did not know.
So you can tell by the emphasis of her body language right here, the way that she's using her hands. She thinks that this is a very compelling point. So this is plausible deniability. Before 2008, nobody would know these things. How would anybody know that he was a criminal before then? How would anybody know that Epstein was doing these bad things? So you're seeing the body language because she is feeling more confident when she talks about this.
In 2008, were like most people. They did not know what he was doing. And I think that that is exactly what my husband will testify to tomorrow.
So you can see touching her nose, touching her mouth afterwards. That's a way to calm ourselves down. That's a way to soothe ourselves. So it seems that that was actually much harder than it would have appeared based on the way that she's behaving afterward. She's not somebody who would have done that in the middle. You watch somebody on trial, they'll be talking, they'll start doing the same thing. She saved it to afterwards, but that is notable body language.
Madam Secretary. Can I ask, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to my daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted.
So you can tell she's already got an answer for this one. It's very hard to hear, but basically somebody's asking, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to the wedding since she'd already had a lawsuit against her at that point?
She came as the plus one, the guest of someone who was invited.
So this was an answer that she was very prepared to give. You could tell with the confidence she said it. No ums, no ahs. She felt very comfortable saying this right here.
She came as the plus one, the guest of someone who was invited.
But something's important afterward. You see her bunching her lips like this and nodding her head. This is her way of saying, I'm not going to answer anything else about this question. I've said what I wanted to say, and that's it. Now, what's challenging about this is when people have prepared responses, particularly if they're confident in them, you're not going to see the anxiety leak out when people are being deceptive. So even if this may be a deceptive response, it's such a practiced one, you're not going to see anything leak out with it. And seeing it got to those questions so quickly, that was going to be it for her. All right, let's go and wrap things up here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the behavior and body language we saw from Hillary Clinton. Now, Bill Clinton should be very different. I'll be very curious how he handles this. And I do plan, assuming they release the depositions on video, I do plan on doing a very thorough analysis of those. So those should give us a lot more information. We can get a lot more specific about different topics in different areas. But what we did see today is it looked like there was a lot of discomfort, and it appeared to be that there was actually some deception as she was responding to some of these questions, as she was talking about some of these areas with Epstein and Maxwell. Once we see the deposition, I should be able to go much, much deeper. But so far, it's pretty interesting. I'll be very curious where it all goes. If you have any other thoughts about this, or if there's anything else you want to analyze, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.
Hey, so what do y'all think about that, man? What do y'all think about that whole situation, man? My boy be breaking down the motherfuckers, though. I ain't gonna lie. But listen, man, shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. I've been live all day. I'm about to get up out of here, man. I got some shit I gotta do. But man, I'm keeping y'all informed with the news y'all can use, man. You feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into it, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Make sure y'all be safe as y'all move around. Y'all know the vibes. Your brother Aboriginal Power. We out of here.